Happy Wednesday, everybody. Andy and Steve from WagerTalk.com going over the road to millions on August 2nd. Got a really good show. Actually, surprisingly, a little bit jam-packed today. We're going to go over yesterday's amazing, awesome day that sets us up really nice for the upcoming week for units. We'll go over the betting lab, some betting notes for all the upcoming sports. Who's tanking in MLB after the trade deadline? I think we've got some clear-cut nominees for who we can make some units on. Fading down the stretch. Low volume on the weekend. Do not expect a whole lot of plays in some of our usual sports. We'll talk tennis because we will have plays coming up in tennis. Dana White Contender Series starts next week. Why do I bring that up? Well, I casually hit 70% of bets on Dana White Contender. I'll just lob that little bomb out there for everybody, Steve. I just happened to kill it last year in Contender Series, and one of my losses was when a guy got hurt 1 minute in. I broke his shoulder. So
I can't count that one.
No, it doesn't. It's 72%. And then of course we'll go over the streak of the day. So great show for everybody. Steve, let's recap yesterday. I will start with the early morning Women's World Cup play. It was a really nice introduction to if you've never experienced our same game parlays. So we had one game with 3 pieces in a same game parlay. We had another game with 2 pieces in the same game parlay. Piece them all together, and it's basically a 5-legger, and it gets there. The closest was England over 3.5 corners. They had 4, so that was sweaty, but they got their 4th with 25 minutes left in the game. So cash, it just wasn't a huge padding. But I was very proud of Corbin on that one because he kind of struggled with a couple of plays early in the tournament, and we paper traded a bunch of plays, didn't put him out. He found a couple spots that he likes, bang, gets us 2 units. So that was really good. Got the day off to a really good start. And then I'll let you talk baseball, man. It was kind of sweaty, but it gets there, and it all counts in the end, right?
Yeah, they were both kind of sweaty. We had the Dodgers and the Rangers both on the run line. Rangers get there with a 2-0 victory. We needed solo bombs from Garver and Garcia. Garcia hit it late in the game, so that was a late cover there. Dodgers almost let it slip away. We survived 3 solo bombs allowed by Lance Lynn, but Dodgers got the job done late, scoring some runs in a couple of different ways. 7-3 victory there, and we pick up 4 units in the MLB. Happy about that, getting back on track.
Tell them how Outman, who, by the way, I feel like Outman's one of those guys that we don't really talk about, but I feel like in a couple of years we could be talking about that guy as a legit star. Like, he just checks all the boxes. I love watching him in center field. I love watching his at-bats. But tell him how he got 2 RBIs last night.
Yeah, he's come up with some clutch hits along the way, but last night he comes up bases loaded twice. He manages to get 2 RBIs, one getting hit by a pitch and the other one walking. So he literally manages to drive in 2 runs by walking twice, essentially. Gets the job done that way. We also, Mookie Betts hit a home run, some clutch hitting by Enrique Hernandez, which I'll touch on after, but great win by the Dodgers.
I was watching the Oakland Athletics feed when Mookie hit that shot. I mean, it just came off the bat. And you knew it was gone. And he hit it, and the Oakland Athletics announcer goes, and Mookie knew he got all of that one. Yeah, it's always fun watching when your team is playing well. So gets us off to a great start. We're up 6 units for the week on Road to Millions. So now we have options. Now we can protect our units. We do have some plays locked in, and we'll get to those. So great work yesterday. Let's get to the betting lab. This is just some betting notes for upcoming events. Steve, I'll let you talk a little bit about just some baseball things that you noticed. I mean, here we go again with the Dodgers. I feel like we have to keep writing this. The Tuesday, the Sunday, Monday, Tuesday thing. This has to be a part of it, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's amazing. They just keep winning on Mondays and Tuesdays and losing on Sundays. And we talked about how the team's constructed, how it makes sense. We've kind of beaten this to death. And I mean, we have to keep riding this at this point. It's one of those, I've told you before, I don't really necessarily believe in these day type trends, but this one I believe in. And speaking about the Dodgers, I wanted to touch. So one thing I noticed with them was like an overlooked trade with them Kiki Hernandez joining the team. Um, he's been off to a horrible start this season so far, but he's joining his former team. Played the majority of his career with the Dodgers, and he said he's excited about the fresh start. So I'm looking at him, and this guy got as hot as any hitter I've almost ever seen in Major League Baseball in July of 2021. He was so clutch and so hot for the Red Sox. I mean, he's not normally that type of hitter, but he was like, a top 10, top 20 hitter for that month, and he carried that into the postseason as well. Look at last night, he comes up, clutch situation, tie game 1-1, bases loaded, 2 outs. He gets a big 3 RBI double. This is a guy that's going to get overlooked. He's towards the bottom of the order, so he's someone who's not going to get acknowledged as a big time hitter. But if this guy gets hot, you got to ride his hitting props moving forward. You're going to get great prices on him today. His runs plus hits plus RBIs is plus 105, and he's going to be in a lot of games because he has a lot of ways to get on the field. He plays shortstop, plays a couple outfield positions, so there's a lot of ways for him to stay on the field and for him to get on the field for the Dodgers and do some damage for them down the stretch run.
Another note, the Twins, my God, they strike out a ton. So keep an eye on if you get a good number on the starting pitcher. I think the starting pitcher had 7 strikeouts in 7 innings last night. They swing a lot and miss. So I was
100%.
I was noticing that. Other sports, UFC. So the UFC preview video is out on WagerTalk's YouTube channel if you want to see me break down every single fight. The one fight that I keep coming back to is Jeremiah Wells over Carlston Harris, and I just can't pull the trigger on it. You've seen a line move towards Carlston Harris. I think Wells should win, but I worry about this grappling edge that Carlston Harris may have, and it just ends up being this fight that I'm probably going to stay away. And I've come to that conclusion about several of the fights in UFC. I will tell you, PFL, their week 7 is this week. The lines are not out on the domestics. They're out on some of the offshores. As soon as those lines come out on the domestics, we absolutely will have a play, and it will be a parlay. I've been waiting for literally a month on this event. And then Bellator is either next week or the week after. That's another event that I've been waiting for a month on. So expect some of those plays to come out fairly soon. Golf, a little bit of a different story. It's a week before the FedEx Cup playoffs. There's really no clear-cut favorite in this one. Be careful with this tournament. There's going to be a lot of – it's an easy course but a bad field, and so some of the guys that are priced as big favorites are just not that good. They're not playing that well now, so just be careful. I have one play that is up, and I may just stick with that one play and hope to bring in 2%. So the golf video that me and Nick did, that is up on WagerTalk.com. We got the free digital download, so – check out those if you want more in depth, but just expect it may just be one play in UFC, one play in golf. And honestly, that's all I need to turn a profit. So yeah. So that'll do it for the betting lab. Let's get into a little bit more of the Road to Millions specifics. We just remind everybody, if you have not seen the original Road to Millions video and if it's your first time joining us, first off, thank you. Go back to Monday, June 26th on the WagerTalk YouTube channel. And if you don't have the bankroll builder spreadsheet, you can download that in a pinned comment that's on this video or just in the description on the original Road to Millions video. And I think it's always good. Just remember our rules here. Our number one goal is 3% per week. That's our goal. We don't chase losses, no drunk betting, and we do not pull money out of the bankroll. Those are our 4 big rules that we're trying to get to. And our goal is turning $1,000 into $1 million. Remember, this is investing. We're not gambling. We are investing. The average annual return on a 401k is 5 to 8%. Steve, we did 6% yesterday. So obviously it's going to be a lot different, but that's what we want to compare our Road to Millions. We want to beat this 401k 5 to 8%. We're doing it handily. We're close to up 60% for the year, but our goal is 3% a week. So that is quick little recap on the Road to Millions. And please, guys, leave your comments below. If you have any questions, we love answering some questions about any sports or Road to Millions. If we got any questions on how we're going to bet on the NFL coming up, please let us know. Tell us if you like us or hate us. Tell us this is the stupidest idea you've ever heard in your life, because there are several people that have told me that.
we
So
have we have our supporters as well, though. So
we have a lot of supporters, and you know who you are, and we love you. So okay, we're coming up on the part of the MLB season where Steve and I are two lions looking at a herd of elk. We are looking at teams that are tanking in the MLB. Most bettors, I think, look on like what teams can we bet on. Steve and I are looking at who can we bet against. We want to fade the bad teams. So, Steve, trade deadline has come and gone. Who are the teams that you have circled that really just gave up on this season? Who can we bet against?
all right, we can start off with the New York Mets trading away Justin Verlander and Max Scherzer. It looks like they're waving the white flag for this season after the great run they had last year. Another team that we could probably look at is the White Sox as well. We touched on them earlier, towards the end of last week, maybe. They didn't trade as many guys away as I thought they would in the end, but they still, 2 starters, 3 relievers, their starting third baseman. They're kind of going to be a shell of themselves moving forward. And we also talked about the Colorado Rockies last week, trading away 2 key hitters in Grichuk and Cron. We talked about also fading them on the road as opposed, we considered playing them at home and avoided it. Just kind of illustrating our theory of fading the bad teams as opposed to trying to ride the hot teams. So looking to get some value here out of some of these teams that traded away some key parts at the deadline.
I like that White Sox team to fade. That would like Jake Berger. Probably most people don't know who that is, but like you and I have started fading the White Sox, and he's their power guy. you were stunned when you saw how many home runs he had this year.
Yeah, I was surprised that he's approaching. He's in the mid-20s now, I believe. He's only batting 210 or something like that. But he's got some power though. You know what I mean? And we saw Lance Lynn pitch for the Dodgers last night. Actually had a pretty good start. I mean, the 3 solo home runs, put those aside. Lynn has just really struggled this season, giving up the home run. I think that's 31 now on the season for him. But yeah, and then you look at the White Sox too. Their bullpen was already in bad shape. And as opposed to a team like Texas, where they had a poor bullpen, but they added some key parts in Chapman and Stratton, so that bullpen's a lot stronger now. It actually might be a strong bullpen moving forward. The White Sox got decimated essentially. Yeah, Graveman, Lopez, Kelly, you name it. They traded away a lot of their key arms out of the bullpen.
So just expect us to really be focusing on some of these really bad teams. This is our bread and butter right here, man. This is where baseball can be really, really profitable if these bad teams kind of live up to expectations. So low volume on the weekend. I kind of briefly touched on that. We do not have a Formula One race. We're not betting on NASCAR. We have a iffy golf tournament. We have limited, limited plays in UFC. And to be honest, in the CFL, you've got 2 great teams playing each other, which means you got a couple bad teams playing each other. So those are kind of unbettable for me. So I've only got 1 game that I'm kind of focusing on. So for some of the sports that we've really hit hard the last couple of weeks, you're going to notice that those aren't going to be there on the weekend. Formula One is off for a month. It's their summer break. So we'll have a few weeks off of that. So, but you can expect MLB. We do have the golf. We do have the UFC, and I will get into tennis. Well, you know what? Let's just get into tennis. But don't expect a huge amount of plays on the weekend. If you're there and you're like, oh man, am I missing plays or am I not getting notified of plays? It's not. You're fine. It's just that we just don't have as many. So, okay, tennis. We have to talk a little bit about tennis because Corbin likes several tournaments this week. So one thing I want to do is show everybody where these tennis plays are. If you've just kind of gotten into the road to millions, so I want to show everybody where to find these plays at and how you can find them in some of these different sports books. So Corbin has 3 events that you can expect plays out of. We have the ATP Washington, the WTA Washington, and then the ATP Los Cabos. Um, so first off, WTA, that's the women's. So if you're looking for a women's play, it's in WTA. Men's is the ATP. So or let's start here on DraftKings. If you want to find these tournaments, you go down here to the tennis tab, and it's nice. They already have ATP Washington, WTA Washington, and ATP Cabos. Los Cabos. Corbin sent me the tennis tournament, and it clearly says Los Cabos on our Slack channel. So that was not my fault.
Nice job, Corbin.
Yeah. So don't shoot the messenger on this one. So, if you want to click on tennis, though, it shows you all of the tournaments, and as you can see, there's a million weird tournaments that are just going on.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's crazy. So ATP is always going to be at the top here. It goes in alphabetical order. So here's ATP Los Cabos and ATP Washington. So if you click on ATP Washington, you can see all of them. On the flip side, let me go to a couple of other websites that you can use. Sorry, let me pull them up here. Okay, so if I go here to FanDuel does a really good job with their search function. So if we have a one particular a tournament and we have one, or I'm sorry, if we have one particular player that we want to look up, just click on the magnifying glass here, and then you can type it in. So let's say we want to bet on the Svitolina and Kasakina match. If you just type in the first names, you can click on it, and then it will take you to all the props. So that's on FanDuel. Same thing on BetMGM. They're under maintenance as I record this, but Bet Rivers, which by the way, if you don't have Bet Rivers and you're in a legalized state, get Bet Rivers. We use their lines quite a bit. Sometimes they end up with better lines. Same thing. Search function. You type in SVIT and bang, there's Svitolina, and it shows up all the plays. So get ready for that if you're not used to the tennis plays. I just wanted to go over that with everybody in case there's any questions, because we do utilize them. And I think maybe tomorrow or Friday I'll do a little thing on same game parlays and how to find those. So the next thing that I wanted to talk about was Contender Series, Dana White Contender Series. So Dana White Contender Series is every Tuesday for the next 10 weeks, starting next week. It's like 5 fights a night. It's prospects. It's maybe some guys that have had a chance in UFC and it kind of fizzled out. But basically, they put on 5 fights. At the end of the show, Dana White decides who gets a contract to the UFC or not. And what you can expect is Dana White loves finishes. So these guys that go on there, expect these guys to be going for the finish. So
Nice.
yeah. So it's good to take some unders. And then researching the fighters is kind of fun because a lot of them are lower level. Some of the film is hilarious. It's on like Facebook Lives, or they're fighting in in the basement of somewhere. For example, there's a guy next week. He's a kickboxer. He's fought 3 MMA fights. His first opponent was 0-0. His second opponent was 0-0, and his third opponent was 5-28.
Oh,
So
it's a lot of ass kickings.
none of the fights got out of the first round. So you have like no film to look at this guy. You're like, okay. So he fought, the hot dog vendor in the building. So that's kind of what you're looking for. It's kind of what we're looking at, what you'll see doing the research. However, it's profitable. Like I said, 70%. Went 7-3. So I last year, all I did was one bet per week. Went 7-3. And like I said, one of the losses I took was a guy broke his arm, broke his shoulder like 1 minute into the match. So I will be doing Takedown Live on Tuesdays for Dana White Contender Series. I believe it's an 8:00 start Eastern time, but I will let everyone know. But I kind of started doing the Takedown Lives at the end of last season. This season, I will be live. Hopefully, Jim will join me for it, so everyone can join and watch Contender Series there. But I'm very excited. great way to just add a couple units. Like I said, we had a really, really good year last year, and all I did was one pick per fight. I've already got all my notes ready for week 1. So we'll be ready to rock. And those plays I will have up on $9 Monday. That's the nice thing about a Tuesday Dana White Contender Series. I can put the play up on Monday, so it works great for $9 Monday. So, but again, encourage everyone to get an all access pass. So that is Contender Series. So excited about that. All right, Steve. Oops, sorry. Let's do Streak of the Day. And you already mentioned a couple guys that got traded. And this affected the Angels team total. This was our last streak of the day that we talked about. So the streak of the day was the Angels over 3.5 team total on Monday. They got 4 with 1 run in the 9th inning. So you were spot on that this was a very close line. But what did you notice about the streak of the day?
Well, we had mentioned that the additions of Randall Grichuk and C.J. Cron to the lineup could give them a boost. And it did. Grichuk hit a home run in that, a solo bomb in that game. Cron drove in a run as well. So 2 of the 4 RBIs in the game came off those 2 bats, which was the difference for us in that play, essentially. And like we say, it wasn't something that we played officially because we were kind of on the fence with it, and it just got there. And we have an interesting one. We have an interesting one for tonight with the Royals.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Real quick, Steve, I forgot to plays that are up today. You can get our MLB play of the day is up. We have our golf best bet that is up. UFC best bet is up. So if you want to grab those 3 plays, if you haven't already locked them in, they're all up at WagerTalk.com. We have one tennis play that is up now. It's a 1% play. They will be coming out a little bit later as the lines kind of get solidified. So just want to let everyone know those plays are up. The MLB play is for sale. Golf bet is for sale. UFC bet is for sale. All access clients, you guys already have those in there. And tennis plays will be coming out. So those are the plays that we have up. We're up 6 units already this week. So we're looking great for a really profitable week. All right, streak of the day. You mentioned it. I cannot believe this is it, but walk us through it. That was the wrong one. Royals money line. What are they, plus 160 today, and they're the streak of the day?
Yeah, plus 160. The reason why they're streak of the day is because they are on the longest current winning streak in the MLB at 4 wins. We suffered.
That's sacrilegious, Steve. That should never happen in Major League Baseball, ever.
Yeah, 100%. We suffered through 3 of those losses over the weekend. And what lines up nicely for them here is they're playing another team that's waving the white flag, essentially, in the New York Mets. The issue with this one, though, is that, Senga, the Mets have the starting pitching advantage with Senga over Raggins. Although Raggins wasn't bad in his first outing after getting traded to the Royals, he actually was pretty solid in 5 innings with only allowing 1 earned run. I guess the other big issue with this play is it's the Kansas City Royals. You know what I mean? So this isn't something that we would endorse playing, but just made for a fun one based on their current winning streak, and that plus 160. Not a bad spot here against the Mets.
I have a question for you. Who is the greatest hitter in Major League Baseball history? Is it Joe DiMaggio, Babe Ruth, or is it Witt when we bet against the Royals and there's a man on second? I swear to God, that guy has killed us. Killed us.
Bobby Witt Jr. Yeah, he almost hit for the cycle against us. He had a humongous. He's a really one of those guys that seems to be hot and cold. He's a great talent, but we've suffered through a lot of games with him, and he just seems to be that guy that comes. I mean, then you look at it though, when he's batting, he doesn't have the greatest stat line, you know what I mean? But every time it seems like that the Royals make us pay, it's him doing the damage. He's obviously their best hitter.
It is amazing. I mean, it's like, how is this guy not hitting 740? Every time he's at every time he's at bat, there's at least one guy on. There's only one out. It just always seems to line up for that guy.
And we seem to never get that key pitching change that we need when he comes up. Sometimes we have a guy out there that they're just screaming to pull him against Witt. You see Witt coming up in the order. You need like so many times I've been watching these games and just been like, let's get this out so that Witt doesn't come up with men in scoring position. You know what I mean? Because you know what that means. You know, and so many times it ends up being a home run as opposed to even just a single or something like that. You know, but
It is.
Pull these pitchers if they're on the if they're fizzling out and Witt's coming up, pull them.
Or I'm just screaming when there's 2 outs and there's a guy on first and Witt comes up. It's like, just walk him. He's killed you all series. Like, he's single-handedly torched you all series. Do not throw that man one hittable pitch. He's gonna hit just a rope to the outfield.
And it's generally Perez that bats behind him too, and he hasn't been, quite the hitter he's been in the past this season. It seems like he's been a lot. He's an easier out than Witt Jr. That's for sure.
Absolutely. So, thanks everyone for joining us on the Road to Millions. That's going to do it today. Don't forget to grab our plays up, the MLB play, the golf play, and the UFC play, up 6 units already for our week. So very, very excited. Month of August is off to a good start, and we will be back tomorrow to recap today on the Road to Millions. Thanks everyone. Good luck on all your bets, and we'll see everyone tomorrow.
Good luck tonight.